Armory disc golfers, welcome back to another video. Discmania has finally made a Thunderbird clone, but they might have made it even better. Let's get into it. Who you know straight out the car, busting out forehands. I like that. It's got stability, but I can already tell that it has a tick of turn to it when thrown with some forehand pop. The Discmania Vanguard is a new mold from Discmania. It's got flight numbers of 9502, which is identical to Innova's Thunderbird, a slot that Discmania has been missing for quite a while. So why do I think that this could be a Thunderbird improved? Well, let's see it fly for a while and we'll talk about it. Jump. Slid up nice near the basket. The Vanguard releases on Wednesday, August 2nd, and this is a release that Discmaniacs especially are really excited about because this slot has been one that Discmania has been missing for quite a while. They have PDs and they have FDs, they have CD1s, but nothing quite in the middle there with that Thunderbird type flight and stability. And I think that everyone, regardless if you're a Discmaniac or not, has reasons to be excited for this mold because there's one thing in particular that I think might set this over the top from just being another Thunderbird clone. And that thing is the plastic. This is Discmania's Special Blend S-Line, which feels very, very similar to a similar sort of plastic that comes out of the same factory in Sweden. This is Royal Grand plastic, and I've said several times that I believe this is the top of the line, best plastic on the entire market. So you can imagine my excitement when I found out that Discmania was making a Thunderbird in this plastic. It looks great, it feels great, and now we're gonna see how it flies. Our third hole here is 539 foot, par 4. We're gonna put this one out to the right of these trees and then see if we can have it hooked back in at the very end of the flight. And then I'm gonna throw it next to the Thunderbird and an S-Line PD to see how this stacks up against its flight number equivalent and its current closest competitor in the Discmania lineup. A little bit of Hyzer release, holds it the entire way, has a decent amount of glide, and finishes 9502. A little bit of a Hyzer release, has a decent amount of glide, reliable finish, 9502. Fun fact, I have never thrown a PD before, so you're gonna get to see me discover this disc live. I've seen plenty of people throw them. I know by watching them and from the flight numbers, this has a tick less glide and a tick more stability typically, but these S-Line PDs were known to be a little straighter than C-Line counterparts. Slight Hyzer out of the hand. Now, I'm biased because I see the flight numbers there. It looks like that one wants to turn and get down a touch faster. Maybe I'm just biased out of flight numbers. Now, before I go too all in on this whole, this is just a Thunderbird clone thing, flight numbers are exactly the same. The flight is very similar. They feel different in the hand, not just because of the plastic, but also just the shape of the disc is a little bit different. So it's not the exact same as a Thunderbird. We'll explore that here in just a second. Oh, I didn't put enough turn on it. It's gonna come on out. But it doesn't have too crazy of a fade to where it's just Hyzering out immediately. It still wants to push forward even when it comes out of that turn. Got a little more Anhyzer on that one. That's really how I wanted to throw the Vanguard. And even though I threw them on slightly different angles, I can see, again, the similarity in flight between the two. Well, I threw that one more like the Vanguard than the Thunderbird, and you can really see the difference there. The PD, brand new S-Line, wants to really hook over once it gets out of that turn. Stay up. I didn't trust it. Our fourth hole is straight in front of us, 410 feet. I'm gonna need to put this on a little bit of Anhyzer and have it hold if I want it to get all the way there. Good amount of Anhyzer. Is it gonna come out? Yes, it is. Nice. I'm happy with that flight. I kind of expected it to hold all the way over, but it has enough integrity to fight out, even of a pretty steep Anhyzer like that. Again, a nice bit of Anhyzer. I threw that one a little higher, so it has a little more time to fade back in, but very, very similar flight paths. So just in terms of flight path, did Discmania reinvent the wheel? No. Did Lamborghini reinvent the car? I'm obviously very big on Royal Grand Plastic and its equivalents. And if you've ever felt it before, you know why. If you've never felt it before, I highly encourage you to try it because this stuff is the truth. Well, it won't make your putt any better. So comparing the hand feel between the Vanguard and the Thunderbird, other than the plastic type, which I've already talked about. Something that I've always really liked about the Thunderbird is that it feels like my grip is really secure up underneath the rim whenever I'm power gripping it. I talked about this a little bit on my video on the Axiom Rhythm, and I really like when you can dig in your hand underneath the rim and it feels like it's really locked in. The Vanguard has that thing going on where something with the shoulder makes it feel like I don't have like a super secure place to put my thumb. I don't know if that's the underside of the rim. I don't know if it's the shoulder. I can't see any physical markers on either disc that says, oh, this is much different than that. I just know that when I grab a Thunderbird, I feel like I'm really latched in up underneath it. The Vanguard doesn't feel like it's slipping out of my hand. It just feels slightly less secure than a Thunderbird. I also noticed this with the Creator S-Line cloud breakers. So if you ever had one of those, this has a similar sort of feel to that. The profiles on these are very, very similar. I don't know that I could tell you a difference between the profile between these two discs. And that little thing about grip is really the only thing I noticed other than the fact that this is the best plastic ever made. All right, since we're on forehand, so I'm gonna give this one a little Forehand Anhyzer. This is 330 feet away. I'm gonna try to have it pan left most of the way, avoid this tree, and then have it hook in at the end. Start it out to the left. It's not gonna come back in all the way. But it's a good show of, that disc wants to fly, man. I cooked that thing way too long. Tried to throw that the same way. I mean, the PD looks like it has a little bit more bite at the end. These are nice, straight, woodsy flyers. Just trying to throw them all the same at this point. Well, here's the difference between the Vanguard and these other two, is that the Vanguard is right here. I went 20 or 30 feet long and left of the basket, as you saw. The PD is in line with the Vanguard, but it's about 35 feet short of it. So I think there's something to be said there. The Vanguard is supposed to have a little bit more glide than the PD, so that checks out. Drop in. I would have liked for that to go in. We've got a decent amount of headwind. I'm not a meteorologist, I don't know, 15 mile an hour or something like that. We're gonna throw this pretty hard forehand into said headwind, see what it does. Breaking over, but still coming out at the end. That wasn't the cleanest release. There's a little bit of wobble coming out of the hand, so I'm sure that added to some of it turning over, but it doesn't feel like what I would call an overstable disc. All right, our final hole, 370 feet, nice little water carry. Again, just a touch of headwind. I'm gonna put it on some Anhyzer and trust it to come back. There's a little bit of Anhyzer, and there's the little bit of coming back. Really like that. Go up straight. I mean, really, that's what you want from a stable 9-speed disc. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below, subscribe so we can see each other again. If you enjoyed the Vanguard, drop on by armorydiscgolf.com on August 2nd, release day, get your hands on one of these and enjoy this sweet new mold. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.